Whoops.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us again. Today is episode 9. I got to repeat this whole thing with Coffee of Impetus, and we're lucky enough to have Viega trainer Troy Locke with us. If you don't know who he is the trainer of Viega, but let him tell you a little bit about himself again. So, Troy, take it away. Who are you and what do you do?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Terrence. My name is Troy Locke, known on Instagram as Trainer Troy, and I've been with Viega for almost 9 years now. I'm the manager of technical training and technical support for Viega LLC, which covers all of North America. So I still play a big role in the actual training aspect of things. So I'm still conducting trainings, but since the unfortunate, COVID-19 pandemic, we closed our seminar centers just to, protect everybody. So protect our colleagues, protect our staff. So we went straight to online now. So this has been new and exciting for me because I'm used to training hundreds of in-person classes a year, training thousands of people a year, but in-person, face-to-face, and the online platforms are fun. So we transitioned, we closed, like I said, March 13th, and we haven't been back in there yet. We're starting to look at a reopening phase, but yeah, been with Viega, like I said, for 9 years. I started in tech support. So I worked in their tech support division. That's how I got hooked up with Viega. Started there, got promoted into technical trainer role, then became senior technical trainer, and then evolved into manager of technical training and technical support. So
all of that
in the field.
All of that within 9 years?
All of that within 9 years.
Wow, that's quick. So as you were saying, you did something before this. What were you doing before you got into Viega?
So I'm still a licensed master plumber and gas fitter out in the field, certified plumbing designer, all that stuff. So I came from the field prior to Viega. So prior to this, I was working for a smaller mom and pop operation out of Nashua, New Hampshire. And me and my cousin were their lead techs, and they did a lot of service and light commercial and bathroom and kitchen remodels and, big fancy homes, things like that. So me and my cousin were the lead, master techs. And then we had 2 HVAC guys with us as well. Because that's one thing I always joke about. I'm not a refrigeration guy. I never got into the, warm air furnaces, right? So I'm a boiler guy.
Yeah.
I do hydronics. But I've always worked with HVAC technicians on the refrigeration and, air side of things. So, and prior to that, I was
And any plumbing?
jobs.
Any plumbing at all, or just HVAC?
Oh yeah, no, I did all the plumbing. That was me. So I did all the plumbing. I did all the hydronics for boiler piping and chilled water and things like that. Like I said, service work, new installs, and then the other 2 techs were our furnace guys. They did all the air conditioning and mini splits and the hot air furnaces and things like that.
So when you were working, were you actually using the Viega products before then? And then, like, you knew what you were getting into as you were heading into Viega, or what was it like?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what's great about this is Viega wasn't foreign to me. I mean, I didn't know they were in Nashua, New Hampshire, which was funny. Like, I used their products, and I didn't realize they had a training center. At that time, they called it an education facility. I didn't realize they were right down the road, right? I literally had an apartment across the street, and I didn't know. There was this main drag called Somerset or whatever, and I didn't even know they were across the main drag up into the new plaza area where there was a hotel and a new hospital and all.
It was
stuff.
meant to be.
Up and coming plaza, which is really cool. I didn't even know, but I did use them. I started using their product in 2005 on a TGI Fridays restaurant in Nashua, New Hampshire. So that was pretty cool. So I've used their ProPress copper since 2005.
Pretty memorable because they've actually been here the press has been here for about 20 years or even more than that. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, they came in 1999. So they came over and they partnered with Rigid at that time, and Rigid, and that was funny. Even when I was getting into it, I was still dealing with the Rigid rep. I didn't even know the Viega because Viega just started hiring their own sales force because when they first came over in 1999, they partnered with Rigid. Rigid manufactured the tools and the jaws, and Viega handles all the fittings, and they sent the fittings over, and Rigid went out and sold them hand in hand to the distributors and wholesalers and stuff like that. So I really got to know the Rigid rep first. And then actually, I didn't really, again, realize Viega was there until I started working for them. And it's just, I hear that a lot from people in New Hampshire, but a lot of people fly in from all over. So that's what's great about being in Nashua, because they're about 50 minutes north of Boston, so major hub, and then they're 13 minutes south of Manchester Airport, so another good airport. So a lot of people flew in to go to their trainings, and they opened up that training center in 2006.
Wow, I didn't even know about that. I've never even flown to one training for Viega.
We got to get you out, man. Once we get this COVID under control and people can travel again, you got to see that they do it better than anybody else. I'm not just saying that because I work there and I'm passionate about it, because I can preach Viega all day, but I'll tell you, I've been to a lot of manufacturer trainings that were good, that were decent, but Viega, the buildings are dedicated just to training, and the experience that you get is unbelievable. And it's just, again, all dedicated to training. We have hands-on trenches workshops that we call it. We have an interactive learning center that you go through, along with classroom theory. So we break it up so you're constantly moving, learning, getting different, viewpoints. So it's really cool.
So you're not just sitting on a table the whole day and falling asleep while this guy just talks about how great Viega is.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of trainings
absolutely.
like that, let me tell you. I've been into way too many that I tell people to stop calling me for training if it's not interactive. Because it's just, so many times I just sit in that classroom and it becomes a sales pitch all of a sudden.
Yep. And that's the thing. We don't want it to be a sales pitch. Obviously, hey, when you get there, you see the marketing that's in it. The sales are there subconsciously in the back of your mind. But at the end of the day, we're doing a lot of industry training. So whatever the customer's coming for, we're pretty much doing. 95% of what we were doing before, so pre-COVID, was dedicated trainings. And
Nice.
what it was is a wholesaler or a Viega district manager would bring a group of customers to the seminar centers, and they would get and tell you if it was a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and they would tell you exactly what they wanted to learn, and that's what we focused on. Like, they wanted to learn how to install Mega Press for fire sprinkler. Okay, we're going to talk. That's what we're going to gear the class around. So it doesn't turn into a sales pitch. It turns into an actual benefit to the contractor. They're getting what they came for, and they're allowed to ask any questions they want. Nothing's off limits, and we just kind of steer the class towards what they want to do, and that's why I think people love it so much, and the experience is so different.
So let me ask you, how intense is Viega's training compared to others? Like, will you guys know how each jurisdiction works? Like, an example I would give in, like, when I was going to Navian's training, the trainer in my head was actually really knowledgeable because we would talk about BC. He's not out of BC, but all of a sudden he knows all the BC code. And then some guy talks about, somewhere in the States like Florida, and then he knows Florida's code as well. Is Viega able to match that within jurisdictions as well, if you were to give some information of what's allowed for copper fittings here and what's not allowed over there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do that as well, and that's what's great about having the Viega district manager involved in these trainings and bringing them, because I cover all of North America, I've become very familiar. I actually took a tour. I actually haven't been over to your side of the woods yet in Canada. I've only been up towards Calgary, and I've been to Toronto, and I've been to Ottawa and Halifax, and so I've done that portion, right, the East Coast. And I went up there and trained Enbridge and a lot of the utility companies from MegaPress G, and because of the CSA, LC4 listings and the B149 code and things like that. So yeah, I get to dive into that, which is kind of cool, especially managing tech support and coming from tech support. We covered all in North America. So we have a whole library of all the code books, and I have access to all the code books. I have access to all the listings, so I can actually help interpret or go over those aspects for those applications.
And that's what good training is, ladies and gents.
Absolutely.
So how did you get started with Viega? I know you said you went through so many roles to get to Viega, but how were you approached some way, or was it kind of like there was an opening, or did you go to some training and then somehow got rolled in, or how did that all come together?
So my buddy Jeremy, who still works here for Viega today, he started in August of 2011, which then led to me starting in September or November 7th of 2011. And he got the job first. Him and I worked together at a larger mechanical contracting firm. And he left that contracting firm to go to Colorado. And he was gone for like a year. I always joke he just wanted to go skiing and have a good time. I actually left that mechanical contractor to go to this small mom and pop shop that my cousin was at. And so, like I said, a year went by, and all of a sudden he's blowing up my phone. We kind of lost contact with each other for that year. And then he's blowing up my phone, Facebook and whatever he could, email, saying, hey, I want to talk to you. I got an opportunity for you. And, I know you know the company and blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, all right. Well, I'm doing good. I'm not really looking. I was like, I'm got steady pay, overtime, job is good. I'm the lead guy. But at that time, I was, even at a young age, kind of at that crossroad, because I'm always thinking ahead. I'm always thinking of what's my next thing. Even now, I'm thinking like, where am I going to go with Viega, and how, and that's why in such a short time I've worked so hard. And luckily enough, Viga's growing. That allowed me that opportunity to keep moving up, because I constantly want to do stuff. I constantly want to be better. And so I was like, even at a young age, I was thinking, okay, I'm at this small mom and pop. I love these guys. I mean, I'm still in touch with them today. They said I can come back anytime. So left on good terms with them. And but I was thinking, because they're such a small shop, that I was like, well, I'm never going to own a part of this shop, or there's probably no way I'm going to get in the office or become some sort of VP or owner, So I was like, should I go own my own business? What should I do? And so it was just funny that my buddy Jeremy kind of contacted me at that crossroad, that I was in that thought process, even though I wasn't looking for a job and I wasn't actively looking, and I was only thinking of my future, like, where am I going to go in 5 years? I was giving myself a time frame, putting some goals on some paper. And he reached out to me. I said, all right, well, we met up for some drinks. I said, here's my resume. He put it through, put me in for a recommendation, because he got the job in tech support and they needed somebody else, because, again, they're growing, constant volume of calls and supporting our customers on every product line, not just press, but, I mean, everything they do, from Radiant, right, and Pecs plumbing and design and things like that. So, I went through the process, got the phone interview, then got the first round interview, and I always joke that, my buddy's like, hey, wear a suit. And I'm like, I don't have suits. I've been out in the field so long. I got a wedding suit and a funeral suit. So.
Did you end up wearing your wedding suit?
It was a change. Yeah. I kind of mixed matched them, I think. I can't remember, but I kind of was like, I'll take the jacket of this one. So
it's a little bit between life and death right here.
Yeah, a little bit, because who knows what's going on. It's my next chapter, hopefully, in my life. But, definitely a big change coming from the field. Which I always joke, I'm a roughneck, I like the field, I like working on my hands, and I love joking and having a good time, and so it was definitely a different field, but it was I'm glad I got with Viega because of their family atmosphere, and they're also laid back, and they're hard workers. They expect you to work hard and do your job, and if you do that, you're good,
Yeah.
But it was corporate still, so it was different to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've worked in some corporate as well. And everything's different. I think in the different aspects of if you want to make your own business or not, you can always be second to something. You don't have to do your own business. There's so many paths that you can take. I think whatever path you're taking right now, as long as you're happy with it, I think that's the best path.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm liking this, and that's why I'll train a lot of people, and they say, wow, how come you don't own your own business? You're very knowledgeable. I'm like, that could be a plan B, but right now, like you just said, I'm really enjoying this. Like I enjoy public speaking. I enjoy preaching Viega, and I just enjoy helping customers. So when I get calls all the time, my phone blows up constantly, and it's almost like you're doing service work. I'm troubleshooting jobs, or I'm involved with some unique project because, customers trust me and they trust my opinion. And I like that feeling. I like that we respect one another and helping the trades and just making those connections. So I really enjoy what I'm doing.
That's fantastic. So for a little bit, we kind of jumped a lot, but for people who actually don't know too much about Viega, other than just press fittings, is there anything else you guys do that you can kind of share with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So outside of press fitting, so that's what we're really known for in North America, right? I mean, that's what we came over here to change and evolve the marketplace in North America. Where overseas in Germany, their catalog is it's huge. They have a global catalog, an international catalog. They just have a German catalog. It's huge because again we're global. So they have drainage products overseas. They do make sweat fittings and threaded fittings because they're a household plumbing name.
They did?
So in Germany, yeah. So they still do to this day. If you get the German catalog, they sell solder fittings in Germany.
Wow.
But the market share over there, they have a bigger market share. More people press in Germany than they do solder. Where it's different over here in North America, there's a smaller market share. So less people actually press and more people do traditional methods. So we're trying to change that and evolve the marketplace over here.
It's kind of like the economics of the industry, how if more people flip over to press, then the fittings actually get cheaper than if you were to just keep buying solder, then Pro Press would keep staying the same price, because sooner or later you want to phase out another, then the press fittings can get cheaper. I think that's where a lot of people are missing out on that real macro side of it.
You're absolutely right. I mean, because I always joke and say we don't have the cheapest fitting on the market, which is okay because I do a lot of case studies and cost comparisons to show installers how they're making money and actually how we're the lowest overall installed cost. But you're right. If the market share is so small, there's going to be a niche to that. So therefore, there's going to stay a hefty price on there. But the quality of fittings too are better than that of a sweat fitting. So it's kind of, you're looking at our Pro Press fittings and they're heavier than K.
They're heavy.
So they're heavy duty.
They're heavy. They can knock somebody out. They can knock somebody out. If I threw it hard, I can probably knock somebody out with that.
Absolutely. Oh, you totally could. I've seen people actually take our 2-inch pecs. Like one of our, I won't call him out just in case I want to get in trouble. But he lives in a city, and he's like, just in case somebody tries to jack me, he actually has a piece of 2-inch Viega pecs with a brass Pecs Press by Pro Press fitting on the end. That's heavy duty.
That's his pipe wrench right there, or his hammer.
That's his pipe wrench. But outside of just press, I mean, we have obviously our PEX plumbing line. We have our radiant heating and cooling solutions. We have our in-wall flushing technology. So we do in-wall carriers for toilets.
Oh yeah, right.
And bidets.
That's a newer line coming out, right? Or did you have that before?
So it's newer to North America, absolutely. So it's been overseas for probably 10 plus years, but it's again another evolution of changing the way you probably see Geberit has a brand of it as well. So there's other brands out there. I've also that again is a new direction.
Because I remember going to the show at AHR last year, and you guys were there as well, and then we were looking at the newest system that Viega had. Well, not the newest, but your Radiant system as well, where it just has all sensors in the room and it actually works with a manifold all together. It's like a whole complete system versus where now when we still install in North America, it's still mix and match parts, right? It's not like, I love Takeo, but I'm going to give an example. It's not like Takeo has, everything that goes off and gives the information and feeds it back to tell the control this is what you need from each part, right? So I think Viega, it's a niche market and it's pretty more on the high end, but I think it's something that not a lot of people are going into.
Absolutely, and that product that you were talking about, that is one of the newer ones that we just launched. So you got to see that at AHR as like a sneak peek. Yeah. And then we just launched that, and that's really cool because it's an automatic balancing system for Radiant that you can control from your iPhone, your tablet. So it's really cool. You set it and you kind of forget it, where you're right. Traditionally, I'd have to manually balance all that stuff, get different parts and pieces. This is all one system now that is telling your boiler what to do in fire, and it's gonna automatically balance the system out so I get the right flow rate to that tubing, so I get the right heat. Because I always tell people the hydronics formula says 1 gallon per minute equals 10,000 BTUs, right? So I'm like, that's why you balance it, because you want to get the right BTUs to that space. So that is really cool technology, and that is one thing too. We are, because of our product, we some people seem like it may be more high end, but there's always a good, better, best approach too. So you can be in a different bracket of, okay, so maybe this residential home, we're going to go this route, and maybe this high end home, you can have all the bells and whistles. So we do try to look at things at a good, better, best as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, other than your fittings, there's no good, better, best. There's only the best. Personally, like I love Viega because it's not because we're on the show and like Viega, sponsors us on stuff here and there, but it's just because I've actually used the product and I've used so many press fittings, and when I've been using those press fittings, I had so many issues with the other ones where it either leaks or the MIPs don't work, even the threads are shitty, or the press just seems to kind of wiggle afterwards. But with Viega, we've never had the problem of even the fitting wiggling. Even though you were saying like jaws are different, because we still use the Milwaukee jaws, that could have been an issue as well. But when we did switch over to the Viega fittings, we didn't have those issues.
Yeah, and I'm on the same boat as you. I've tried personally other press products, and I've actually become a little bit of an expert on those as well, because from trial and error and actually doing it from School of Hard Knocks. And I've even gone out and trained shops, and because I'm the type of person that wants to give facts, I never smear or crap all over anybody, right? I never say anything negative about another company, because I say, hey, listen, at the end of the day, Viega is the best. Like, it's the Bentley of fittings, right? It's the best. Whatever car you think's the best, it's the best, right?
Yeah.
And the other ones are trying to get there, and they are different. And that's the problem. Everybody calls it Pro Press.
Yeah.
And ProPress is Viega's trademark name, so we've turned into the Kleenex and Band-Aid of the industry,
I see.
which is fine. That's
It's
cool,
fine.
but everybody says ProPress, and you'll get a photo, or you'll be on a job site, and you're like, oh, your ProPress is leaking. You look, you're like, that's so-and-so's brand. That's XYZ, man. That's not. And so what I've done is I actually started training technicians because I'm not afraid, because I know Viga's quality. I'll train them on how to put the other person's in correctly because I know why they're getting mistakes. Because they're putting it together like Viega. Maybe they got trained by a Viega rep, and they're trying to put this other press fitting in like Viega, and there's actually small differences in the installation steps when it comes to press technology. So if you're not following the certain steps, you could actually run into issues.
They call it the RTFM method. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as it is. It's still reading the manual, but for me, I'm a sinner on this one because usually, ProPress tells us, Viega tells us to mark the fittings, but I don't mark the damn fittings because I'm not gonna. Sometimes I don't feel like marking them. I'm gonna tell you the truth. But Troy, let me ask you honestly: does that void warranty if you guys ever go to a fitting and then you find out it's not marked, or is the warranty process more like you cut the fitting out to see if I have engagement and if I've reamed it? Because it kind of pissed me off if you say I don't mark it, so that's why you're gonna not warranty it.
No, you're right. No. The marking is just for quality assurance on your part as an installer. And some inspectors, depending on your jurisdiction, actually will call you out on it if you don't do it because it's in our manual. So if an inspector reads our manual, he can show up and be like, oh, you didn't mark it, I'm failing your job. If he wants to be that kind of guy, or girl, right? If he wants to be that kind of person, then they could. And that's where I say, and I always joke, and I know we're live right now and this is recorded, I always joke, I'm like, I personally don't care if you mark before or after. The marking is there for quality assurance. It doesn't void your warranty because if something were to happen, we're going to have the Viega rep come out, whether it's, our rep agency up in Canada, Canadian Aqua Line or somebody like that, or our own Viega district manager.
Mr. Alex.
Come out. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So they're going to come out and they're going to work with you and they're going to see where there was a mistake or a failure. They're going to cut that out. They're going to fill out a form and they're going to send that back to our quality department. So it's an RMA and it has a number attached to it. Goes right back to Carl and quality. We got one guy, right? Because that's how great our fittings are. We got Carl. There's more behind the scenes, but I always go to Carl because he's really the lead. But there's more in that quality department that does testing on a daily basis because we're constantly testing our fittings to make sure the quality remains, right, in manufacturing. But Carl, he's in charge of the quality stuff for the returns coming in. And once he gets that in, he has 3 days to get you an answer.
Wow.
That's how serious we take it. He has 3 days to figure out what happened. And we take it serious because Viega is a family-owned fifth-generation company. It's all about their legacy.
Fifth generation.
A commodity. Yeah, we're going into fifth generation now. Anna is stepping in soon, and so she's going to be the fifth generation. It's awesome. And I mean, it's a privately held company, family-owned. That's why I think they treat you so well because it's privately held.
Yeah.
But it's about their name. It's about that right there, right? That's the Viega name. So they want to make sure that what was the problem? Was it a Viega problem? Was it a manufacturing defect? Or was it an installation error? So if you didn't mark it, they're going to get it back anyways, and they can cut it open, x-ray it. They have all the bells and whistles to do whatever they need to figure out what the problem was. And then you get a book report back with detailed photos.
I would love to see
exactly
one of those.
What happened.
I would want to see the process.
Yeah.
But
definitely share some
that's
stuff
awesome.
with you for sure.
But in the true words, like, let's just say for Viega, how many cases do you actually have coming back a year to as for insurance claims? What's the percentage right now? That I'm just curious about.
Yeah, so right now, we always kind of in-house kind of share that kind of stuff, and I'm sure people have shared something. So there's certain things that they consider proprietary information I like to share, but I know talking to quality and getting a feel for things, and they've shared some numbers with me that I'm not allowed to talk about, but
yeah,
I do know from an in-house, from what they've come in, they said it's roughly 14 to 15 parts per million is what will come in for a claim. So think about that. But what I've learned is only 1 to 3 parts per million is a manufactured defect or an actual issue of the part installed.
Yeah.
So that 14 to 15 that comes in, that has to do with they mislabeled it. Maybe there was an extra fitting in the bags. That's how detailed they get. So
Yeah.
those defects are considered labeling, shipping, logistic, whatever it is. So I was more like, well, I don't care about that. If I get an extra fitting, cool. But if I get gypped, I'd probably call you up and be like, hey, this is a bag of 10, I got 9.
Yeah.
So they count that in that parts per million. But what's really cool is they have a very low failure rate when it comes to installed product. And
Yeah.
some people don't believe that number. They go, oh my God, I think it fails more than that. It's like, well, if it does, nobody's telling us. This is what has come in,
Yeah.
right? I do know some people, if they have a leak, they go, well, it must have been me because ProPress is solid. They cut it out and throw it away. I go, don't do that. I'm like, even if it was your fault, send it in so we know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but hey, from what we're getting in, it's very low, and that's why I stand behind Viega just like you do. Is even if I wasn't working for Viega and they're paying, I would be out in the field still installing them, and I would not be installing
100%.
another generic press.
100%. No, that's good news. Sorry to put you on the spot there. I wasn't trying to get some
No, you're good.
information.
I
it's just
like it.
it's just yeah, because sometimes you just want to know, like, you know, how good something is behind it. I mean, because you can't say a company's 100%, like, for real. Like, even for me, I can't say I'm 100%. We have no mistakes, right? So it's good to hear where the mistakes are coming from and what Viega does behind the scenes to actually create a better product, or what they do to react to that situation.
Absolutely, they care about the product, and you're right. It's like there's certain things being a privately held company that, like I say, nothing's off limit. Ask me everything. If I can answer it, I will. If I get yelled at later, that's cool. But I'm passionate about it too, because I like that they take it serious and they take it personal to be like, well, what happened here? Was it an install error? Because you know what? If it was an installation error where you're not trained properly, did we not get a Viega rep out to see you? Like, was it our fault? Could we do something better? And you know what's great is I've even seen my tech support call volume kind of go down because our training numbers are going up, meaning we're training more people. So that has to have some correlation between better trained technicians and less problems out in the field. So we take it serious, you know, through everything, soup to nuts.
That makes sense. It looks like you have all the information all together so that you can find out what's needed. So I'm going back to a little bit about the what you guys talked on about the Boltcast from what I remember. So Chris was telling me that, you know, I heard down the grapevine that Viega is planning on some more new products that are hitting the market. So what kind of information can you kind of leak out for us to let us know what else is coming in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did mention that we've launched our Mega Press ball valves, 1/2 to 2 inch sizes, but we're gonna be, and it's just in the green dot and white dot fitting system, so EPDM and FKM. So it's more of your, you know, maybe bulk utility gases. The gas valve for Mega Press G is not out yet, but that'll be launching soon. So we'll be launching our gas valve, 1/2 to 2. We launched our 3-piece carbon steel and stainless steel ball valves, 1/2 to 2. And then we'll be the first ones to launch up to 4-inch Mega Press ball valves. Oh yeah.
How has that been? Like when you guys are going through all that engineering from 2-inch to 4-inch, because from our, you know, existing code, anything over 2-inch needs to be welded. How was that process to actually, you know, really get it through so that we're able to actually press a 2-inch and a 4-inch valve versus having to weld?
So it is a long process, and that's one thing that I think a lot of, and I didn't know until I came to Viega, the time and money that is invested in changing the way in which people do business, meaning the way I install product, because you have to go at it from a codes and standards point of view. I have to see if you're right. Your code book, is it in the code? No, it's not. Well, now I have to change the code, and hopefully people will be on board and change the code with us. We have to change the code to now get it accepted. Because without that, you're right. Even if we make it and say, hey, we approve it, if it's not approved by code or in a specification somewhere, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
So it's a long process. And when Viega, that's one thing I like about Viega, and I say this every time. I know when Viega launches a product that it has been in production or in the works for several years. So I know when they launch it, it's bulletproof. It's solid. They don't have to go back and yank it and say, oh, sorry, this is awful. No, they don't go back to the drawing board. That ProPress fitting that you're using, I'm using, so the same one that was engineered by them and pioneered by Viega in 1989. It hasn't changed.
Yeah, so it's probably because you said it came out in 1999, right?
In North America, right?
Oh, in North America.
It came out in Germany. It was here in '89. So
you're saying even before '89, probably like 3-4 years before that, they were still they had it made already.
Yeah, several years before that. And I always say we pioneered this fitting, and Viega was the first to launch this fitting to the industry. because somebody made a type of press connect fitting way back in the 50s, so way before my time, and it wasn't a permanent reliable connection. And then what Viega did, because they have the engineering, they've been manufacturing products since 1899, so they have well over 120 years of manufacturing experience. They were the ones to look at that idea and say, we can make that permanent, reliable, consistent, stronger, better, faster, all this stuff. And that's what they did. So they were the pioneers in press technology. So they had that in the works for years, and then launched it in '89 in Germany, and then launched it in the US in 1999. So again, anything we launch, it goes through years and years of testing, research, development, engineering, design. Sometimes things don't work out. They don't like the quality. They scrap the entire project and start brand new again. So, I mean, it could take for a long, long time. So
that's crazy.
But you have to go through the codes and standards. The codes and standards like CSA,
UPC,
CSSA, yes, all that, CRN numbers. So we have to go through all the stringent testing, and it takes a while.
I've always told people before that I've dealt with CRN numbers too. A lot of people don't know that. I used to sell ball valves.
Oh, okay, perfect.
To tell you the truth, I actually used to sell press ball valves too, but it was we had them made in China. So I had a company called not me, but I worked for a company called KVC, and then we were getting these ball valves from China that were pro press, and then they had the exact same specs, and then they were bringing it over. Then we had to get the CRNs for their butterfly valves and all that stuff. So the process is quite familiar with me, and it's tedious. It's tedious, and we're just talking about a certain range of sizes. But a lot of the times, there's so much more engineering and codes that you have to be within, and you have to know each sub-clause and clause that this valve needs to be part of before you can even submit it. So that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And actually right now, and I think, and I always rely on, my friends up in Canada that work up there and deal with code, because even right now, even though we have up to 4-inch megapress gas fittings, it's not allowed in Canada yet per the code. So it's just getting written in right now.
Would you say Canada is one of the hardest ones?
You know what I would say, but I would say they got their stuff together. It takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I will say it is harder, but they make sure to get it all set, get it all written. So they do a good job. And I think I don't have to interpret it as much as I do in the U.S. Here in the States, so many states have their own interpretation of anything, and you have to connect the dots so much. In the States, it's annoying. So
because those words and/or can make wonders. It can just change so many variables of how somebody reads it.
Oh yeah. And then I got somebody that will call me up and say, "Oh, does your product, fall under this standard?" And I go, and they don't even know what they're talking about half the time, because somebody just maybe asked her, they're running a spec. I go, that standard has nothing to do with what you're doing. Well, this is what we're referencing. I go, that's for this. What you need to look at is this. So there's a lot of, pass, and like I said, I call it connecting the dots, because what's your application? What are you trying to do? Where are you located? And it's trying to just pin all those points to figure out, well, this is what is really allowed or not.
I feel you. So I'm looking at a lot of the fittings that you do, like Mega Press, Pro Press, and all that stuff, and I've tried it myself lately, which is the Peerflow. So tell me actually more about Peerflow. I've known about Peerflow because of the show. You guys had that big screen telling me choose a bunch of your plumbing stuff and see which one's the best. And obviously you pick all the Viega products, you have the most money saving. I don't know how true that is, but it's kind of funny. But in all honesty, how did Peerflow come into play, and what's so special about Peerflow, and what can you tell us about it? Even for me, I'm still learning about Peerflow as I use it, but what are some things that you can tell us about it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Peerflow, the Pecs Press fitting system. So we have a crimp line. So we do the copper crimp as well, because when we came to the States, we partnered with Stadler, and we actually was partnered with Uponor as well. If people don't realize that, more of a silent partnership, but they were publicly traded. We were privately, so it didn't really work out that great. But you know what? That's how we started. And when we started Stadler Viega, that was a hydronics radiant company with boilers and radiant products and PEX tubing, and Uponor had the plumbing line. They were doing their thing, and then we kind of parted ways. We bought out the shares and became Viega North America, and became Viega LLC. So with our PEX line that we were producing overseas, we decided to buy a company in the U.S. because we wanted to get established in the U.S. So we bought a company called Vanguard. Now, there is a Vanguard Canada. They still exist, but it has nothing to do with us. We didn't buy Vanguard Canada. So there is still a Vanguard Canada that sells a crimp, PEX system. The Vanguard in the U.S., that's the portion that we bought. And because they were a crimp producer, we stuck with the crimp fittings because, you know what, crimp is actually tried and true. It's actually a gold standard. It's actually a strong fitting system. I think it's a little clumsy sometimes to put it in, but anything with rings and collars and things, I mean, you just get used to the tips and tricks. So I've used crimp before. I still got all my crimp tools here. I was an Uponor guy as well. Used a lot of Uponor expansion. But what I really fell in love with, and I got some fittings back here actually, is I fell in love with the Pecs Press system because it has the stainless steel sleeves. When this first came out in 2005, they were all detached. So you bought the fitting and you bought the stainless steel sleeves separately, like you would a copper crimp ring or a collar for Uponor or a Everlock system from Rayhow, right? So all those systems always have collars, right? Or sleeves or something that you have to fumble around, you get a fitting. In 2012, roughly, we launched our Poly Pecs Press line, which you see here. This Poly Pecs Press is made of a high-quality Radel R plastic, so it's a high-quality thermoplastic.
It's heavier. It's heavier than all the plastic ones that I've used. I can definitely atone to that.
Well, a lot of the other plastic ones that you might be familiar with, and what I used to use too out in the field, is an engineered polymer.
Yeah.
So usually, what an engineered polymer is it's a mixed bag of different resins. So you don't know really what you're getting out of the plastic material, so the quality is all going to be different. And you can just feel the quality too. Like sometimes there's glass filler inside those polymers or whatever they call it, just this filler material in those other products. So you can literally like tap it with a hammer and it shatters, right? Because of that.
Yeah, it's happened a lot of times. Like I get so scared to use the threads from it because they've actually broken off on us before. So when we were using the valves before, we had some products to try out. I couldn't even trust it enough to put it behind the wall. That's how scared I was of it.
Yep, and I'm the same way. So certain products, as long as it's a reputable company that's going to stand behind their product, if something happens, you're absolutely right. You get scared of that. But with Viega's Radel R, when they first came out with their Pecs Press, it was a bronze material. And just like all of our other fittings, a little more expensive, right? More expensive than crimp, so a different marketplace. Up in Canada, this is all we push. Up in Canada, all we push is Pecs Press. We don't even sell our crimp up there. Because crimp is up to 1 inch, where our Pecs Press goes up to 2 inch. So I got a 2 inch right here, 2 inch 45, and I got a 2 inch 45 here. You can tell by the white collar.
Oh shit!
2 by
I like how you guys actually color code it. I've noticed when I was using it, there's actually a color coordination to it.
Well, what's great about that too is so I can identify by the color coding that this is 1.25 inches because it's brown, by 1 inch because it's orange.
A little bit higher.
Oh, yep,
yeah, there you go. Oh wow.
So that's what I like about it because they're color coded. That color coding actually is from the tool as well. So let me see if I can bust this out real quick. So I have a hand tool, yellow. The fitting's yellow as well.
Ah, it's apprentice proof.
Yeah, it's apprentice proof, right? Yeah, exactly. We can match it up. So so that ring on there is a tool indicator. So I know what tool. It's also a tool locator. So what's great about this sleeve and how the sleeve's on there, and I don't have to mess around with it, you can actually, so I got that right there, you actually line the tool up.
A little bit higher?
So it butts up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
It butts right up, see? So it butts right up, so you press onto that sleeve perfectly. So that's why it's there. So I know that
what's the action? So the thing that actually holds the water is the press of the stainless steel sleeve?
Yes. Yep. So what makes it a watertight fitting is when you press onto that sleeve. So let's see if I can get it a little higher there. So you got that barbed fitting on the inside. Yeah. The PEX tubing goes into that, and then the sleeve presses onto that PEX tubing, pushing the PEX into the barb of that fitting, sealing everything up.
That's sweet. Honestly, Troy, the only thing I don't like about it is I have to either get a press machine or your manual tool is actually a little bit bigger than original crimp. Was there anything that Viega is thinking to kind of make an angle one out of it so that we can have a smaller tool that does the same thing, or does it actually require more force for us to press the stainless steel? That's why it's bigger?
It is a little bigger because you do need that little more force.
Okay.
Because the tight tolerances on the fitting, you want to make sure it fits down. Now, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know why we couldn't do an angle one, but it maybe again it's the ergonomics of it and the way the force comes down. I
Yeah.
can always check with my product engineer and find out if it's something they're working on. Other hand tools, it's just these ones have been tried and true for so
Yeah.
long, and you're absolutely right. You have to get used to working with it
Yeah.
because you could get yourself into a tight area where it's not going to work out for
Yeah,
you. And so you gotta
for
pay
us,
attention.
it's just it's for us to get used to it because we're so used to the we don't use a lot of expansion even though we have all the tools, but for cost wise and everything else, obviously we're going on to Pecs Crimp from before, and when we're using Pecs Crimp, we have the little angle ones that literally fit onto our hands. So working with this, it's a completely different because we either have to carry M12 or M18, and we're not really looking at a manual tool because the manual tools are as big as an M12 or M18. So
Absolutely.
the curiosity comes up if you guys are going to make a smaller one or not.
Yeah, I think that's probably always a conversation. Viga's always looking at stuff. I know we will be launching, so another sneak peek. We're actually going to be launching our own Viega branded tools.
Oh,
So still partnered with Rigid, so it's powered by Rigid. But what we're doing
Powered
is
by
we're
Rigid.
redesigning powered by Rigid. Yeah.
I like that one.
But we're redesigning some tools, and we're going to have some different good, better, best options, meaning economics, right? So
Yeah.
trying to get more people into the pressing. So if you don't want that Bentley of press tools, but you're like, hey, this is still a quality tool, because again, it's powered by Rigid, designed by Viega together, so it's a quality tool, but we're going to have different series of tools at a different price point to help people get into the press market more. Because over in Germany, that's what we do. We have our own Viega branded tools in Germany.
I like
So
that.
we will be launching our own Viega branded tools here that will control be in our catalog. We're going to be launching our own Viega branded jaws as well. You're going to see some cool new tool cases by Viega that's going to be able to put all your jaws in. It looks like pack out gear. It's so cool. Like, I'm excited about it. I want one now, and I work for them. I can't even get my hands on it yet.
Yeah, you're making me excited.
So there's some cool tools and jaws coming down the line. Like I said, up to 4-inch mega press valves coming. We're really focusing heavy on the mega press line because I'm telling you right now, mega press is so awesome,
It is.
and people want it. There's a need for it. There's an application for it. So definitely focus on just expanding the SKUs because we'll get the question sometimes that maybe we don't have every fitting yet, and Pro Press went through that growing pains too, where we only had a few SKUs and you maybe had to use some reducers to reduce down. And then we came out with reducing tees and bullhead tees and flanges and unions and valves. So we want to just continue to grow our product line offering for what is needed out in the field and what's in demand. So you're going to see a lot of that kind of coming into the marketplace for us as the different
That's awesome.
SKUs, maybe some unique fittings.
That's awesome. So going back a little bit to Peerflow, I was curious, what are some pros and cons of Peerflow when we're using it? Like for me personally, from what I've seen when I've looked into Peerflow, everybody's asking me, what about the flow rate, right? Everybody talks about it, but I know you guys have a whole training video set up between expansion Pecs and Peerflow, and then the difference is between 1 to 7% even versus of what they're trying to say 25%. But let's just say other than flow rate, and you can tell us how true that video is as well. But other than that, like what else is good for Peerflow versus the competitors of what people don't see about it?
That's I love that question because you're right. Because back in the day, and I try to change the way, and marketing is doing the same thing, and that's what's great about Viega, again, evolving, and just back in the day, it was always the Pecs A, B, C conversation, which was to me annoying because marketing would get their hands on something like that, or a sales guys and say, hey, Pecs A is better because, hey, if you get an A on your report card, it's better than a B or C, right? And it's like, it's not a rating system, man. Like, it's not. There's actually a print line on every Pecs manufacturer, right? So again, don't take my word for it, anybody else's word for it. Look at the print line on the Pecs tubing. There's a ASTM standard on there that all Pecs tubing has to be tested to. And we actually achieve the highest rating per the ASTM standard. So it's a 5306. Now, everybody else is finally catching up. Took them a while, but for the longest time, we were the only ones with that 5306. And then Zern, I think, just launched theirs. I think maybe Uponor finally got their chance to get their color Pecs up to that rating, but their translucent Pecs is still a lower rating. So that's a performance rating that we have to go by and get tested to when we put it on our print line. So that means we can do 100% hot water circulation at 140 degrees. So 24/7 hot water recirculation at 140 degrees, and you will not deteriorate or hurt the PEX tubing or our fitting system, because we use a high-grade Radel-R polymer, and we also use a high-grade silicon bronze. So superior wear properties on the bronze, doesn't desincify. So again, the high-quality products that we manufacture, that's what people don't see. Some people still hang their hat on that ABC conversation. It's just the way in which you cross-link your PEX tubing.
Yeah.
So anybody that does an A, it's just a peroxide method. A B, which is the majority of manufacturers are B, because B, personally, what I have learned now being on the manufacturing side, B to me is the best method out there. I don't care. Now, over in Germany, they'll argue with you. They think C is the best method.
Yeah.
Because C is actually stronger than any PEX on the market. It's a little less flexible, but it has higher burst ratings, higher UV. PEX C is actually better. So they should probably flip that and just say 1, 2, 3, because PEX C is actually stronger and better. Yeah. And that's what we do over in Germany.
But A is also the one that goes back as memory, right? There's memory with PEX A.
Yeah. So from what they're doing with the PEX A, because of the peroxide method, the cross-linking method, things like that, it's going to have that memory to go back. But I will tell you right now, a PEX B has a memory too. All PEX has a B because it's a cross-linked polymer. So that all has a memory. So technically, you could expand a B-type PEX, and it will come back down and it will hold. Now,
technically,
technically, I say that I've tried it; it works. But
I believe it.
I don't want to tell people to do that, because what happens is with a B method, even on A, if you overexpand, and what I mean by overexpand, if you hold that expander on the tubing too long, and you're like fumbling around for a fitting, you get that expander and you're just holding it in the open position, you're technically stressing that tubing out, and that's what leads to hairline stress fractures, which later on leads to failures and leaks and splits. So that's why a B manufacturer says, don't do it to my PEX, just use our fitting system. All PEX manufacturers test their fitting with their PEX, and that's what they warranty, right? So, but what I love about Pecs Press is, hey, all PEX is the same. Technically, I can press onto everything and be perfectly fine. Now, again, Viega's only going to warranty their fitting, their tubing, just like Uponor and Rayhow and all them. That's how the PEX game works. But to me, Pecs Press is superior because, you've been out on service calls, right? You get in there, you don't know what tubing is in there. You're going to make a repair. You can press on that, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's not going to leak, nothing's going to happen. Now, what's going to happen, though, is nobody's warrantying it.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't care. I've done it all the time.
How anal is Viega on it? So let's say if I use Peerflow fittings, but I don't use Viega pipe. Does Viega still warranty that, or it has to be a full system?
So technically, in the warranty, it has to be a full system. But okay. I will tell you right now, the character of Viega, if it legit, you cut it out and you send it to us, and it's a legit Viega fitting failure, they're going to work with you, because they don't want any customer, we don't want it to be our problem, right, or our fault, or we want to make sure we stand behind you and support your business. So we'll take a look at it. So if somebody sends in a bunch of, Peerflow Pecs Press fittings on shark bite tubing, we'll look at it. Technically, we don't have to do anything. We can just say sorry, because it is a full system warranty when it comes to PEX, just like every other PEX manufacturer.
That makes sense. So talking about Peerflow today, and everybody knows that we do have a giveaway for the Peerflow for a starter kit and some Viega swag. So within the page and the post, not a lot of people saw it, which is really good for the people who actually entered. We did pick out 5 people, but it's in order, so whoever is on here first that can reply to it will be the first person will win. If not, we're gonna go down to the second one, third, fourth, and fifth. So out of this list, the person that has won is Chomenak. I think he is from BC. So Chomenak, you have about a minute to answer. And if Chomenak doesn't answer, then we're going to go down to the next person. Impetus employees are not allowed to join. Sorry, Jason. Even if you entered, you don't get it.
I know Jason started following me, I think, to win the tool. Just kidding.
So, I don't know. Vivian, can you look on YouTube if Chomenak is there? If he's replied or not? So that we can get the show on the road.
for that starter kit, for everybody that didn't maybe see the ad, it's the hand tools. It's the 1/2 and 3/4 inch hand tool. Comes in a black case, carrier case with a tubing cutter, and I'm actually gonna throw in some Pecs Press fittings as well into that. So I'm gonna get some 1/2 inch and 3/4 fittings sent your way along with some Viega swag. So I'm really excited about this giveaway.
I'm excited about that as too, because you guys are also giving out the fittings as well, like a little bit of a trial for the fittings as well, right? Was that it?
That's what I want to do, yeah, because I was hoping it would be, a winner that maybe is not familiar with Pecs Press, or maybe they've seen it and they haven't been able to experience it, right? I wanted them to make that switch and kind of fall in love with Pecs Press, because I think it's the best Pecs fitting on the market, hands down, strongest. I know, like you said too, the tooling might take a little time to get with, and that's why, I have another tool, and I'm not, let me show you this right here, so you're a Milwaukee user.
Not much longer, I'll tell you that.
You're right. So, but I will say I'm a big rigid fan, and I use everything rigid. But this is, to me, the best Pecs Press tool on the market currently. But for your rigid tooling platform, I got my 340 over here, and I got my 240. I have the Peerflow rigid jaws that go into that, and that works out great too. But I just thought this thing was so cool because it's so fast. It is only for Pecs Press though. So that could be the downfall if you invest in this tool right here. It only does Pecs Press. Yeah. So you've got to just be dedicated to that Pecs Press kind of line, service work, whatever you may be doing. So, it's definitely
it's definitely a system in its own, because it's right between crimp and expansion. The only bad side about it for us as well is always the fact that you have to get another set of tools for it. So until somebody tries and they really like it, then they're gonna go for it. But if they don't, then they're always gonna be in between either or, because that's what the market share is so far.
And that's what I was hoping this giveaway would help with a little bit. And hey, maybe I can do more of these things, because because you're right. It's trying to get them to use it, because once you do, you're gonna fall in love with it, and you won't turn back.
I do like it quite a bit. The next person is Zach Anderson. Zed Addict on Instagram. I'm not sure if they're showing up. Still no answer. But the third person now, this guy's gonna love it because I think he's on the show. It is DaCosta Plumbing. And I think he is going to pretty much reply, so he's on this whole show, so it will be going to DaCosta. He is actually a neighbor of mine, believe it or not, Troy. Nice. The people I've chosen was actually out of random, but there's about, I think, only 20 people that entered, and because I don't think a lot of people wanted to be on show for a giveaway, but that's how we forced them in. But DaCosta has been a great supporter as well, so he's lucky enough to actually get the set. So DaCosta, you get a full set of the Viega Peerflow starter kit and the Viega swag. So with that done, we'll continue the show.
Awesome. Congratulations to the DaCosta Plumber. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's been doing a little bit with rigid as well, so definitely very lucky lately. He's been winning a lot of giveaways.
Nice. Well, if he's working with rigid, he's got a rigid tooling press, like I said, it is that, like you're saying, when you have a press tool. So with my rigid press tool that I have, traditionally when you buy those, it comes with like the 1/2 to 2 inch Pro Press, right? Then now I'm investing in Mega Press jaws, and now I'm investing in Peerflow Pecs Press jaws. So you are going to invest in the 3 jaw sets, but it's the same tooling platform, and that's what I like about rigid. I got the same tooling platform for all those different presses. So.
Definitely. I like how they work with all of them. The only thing that I haven't liked about it, and even after I heard you talk about it, is how the jaws itself from rigid are mainly for Viega. So the more that we're going to be part of Viega and the family of rigid, the more we're going to have to support and get those tools instead. I mean, I've liked Milwaukee, don't get me wrong. I've liked, as in past tense, just because a lot of their products, I don't like shitting on them. I'm not trying to get a lot from them or anything, but, I feel like they have so much research and development on their products, but there's nothing that's ever perfected, because we've just had so many tools from Milwaukee itself that, maybe their service is better than the States, right? But for me, it's all about service within the entirety of it. Where we come out of BC, sometimes we take in our Milwaukee tools to get it repaired, but the guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and we don't get our tools for like a whole month. Like, we can't have that kind of crap when we're trying trying to work a business, because let's just say I bring in my drain cleaning tool from Milwaukee and it takes them a month to do it. What is my truck going to use then, right? So there's a lot of those issues with, when a company grows too fast, there's not enough service behind it that backs it up.
Yeah, and I will say that, in my experience, we got some great service from Rigid, because a lot of times, too, they have actually outsourced some of and they've trained the people, but I'm saying, like, some of our Viega reps that we have up in Canada, they actually can do it in-house. Some of our wholesale distributors that we work with can do it in-house, and then, of course, you can send it to the different Rigid dealers as well. So, there's one that I use. What's really cool about the Rigid Link app for my compact tool that's on there is I can pull it up and just ping my location and find out all the certified dealers for service. So I can go to that, the closest one to me, and get it done faster. So quicker turnaround when you find your local distributors that can do it, or your local certified Rigid dealership. So
that's
we got
fantastic.
plenty in New England, so it works out great for me.
Hopefully it works out good for us, but we've never had a problem with any of the tools either. So far it has been good. But again, so I think I kind of asked these questions twice. Let me see what I was gonna say next. What is Viega coming out next? I know we talked about you have the Mega Press and everything coming out, but is there something that's even more kind of what Viega is trying to have a solution for next? Like, what is the next biggest thing of a solution that you guys always have within the plumbing or heating industry that you guys are even creating a brand new product for? Is there something in the works for that you can say yes or no, but not really tell us what it is?
Yeah, there's a few things I can probably do that. One thing that's already out there, and one thing that we've been doing for a long time that's a global initiative, is water quality. So we have many products outside of maybe just a fitting that is going to deal with the issue of water quality initiatives, things like that. So, sorry about that. I'm getting a phone call. Should have put my call on mute. Do not disturb. I forgot to do that. My bad.
That's
Rookie
okay.
Mistake. Next time, do not.
I thought I was lagging. I was like, oh no, this is coming again. The first couple times when I was doing it, I was so screwed because my internet was so wonky until I fixed it up thanks to a friend of mine. But I was like, oh no, it's happening again.
But no, just getting a phone call, and I always work off my cell phone because I'm just so much better off my cell phone with apps and everything these days. And of course, my internet at home is great, so I always just work off my phone. I love it. I do a lot of business off my phone.
So back to water quality.
So water quality initiative, global initiative that they, want to, get good water to places that don't have the accessibility for water, right? So there's a huge initiative in different countries and, third world countries and things like that Viega actually is a part of. And it all goes back to design. So we actually have design software that we utilize over in Germany that we're trying to bring over here in the U.S. so we can actually be better at helping engineers design, systems when it comes to water quality, or even heating and cooling, comfort solutions, plumbing systems, fire sprinkler systems, things like that. So there's a software that will be coming over here for design. So engineers, we've already kind of done some behind the scenes work with certain engineering groups to see if they like it, what their thoughts are on it, would they use it, because it's big in Germany right now. So we want to bring that over here. We have different fitting configurations that has to do with the design of your water system, so we can eliminate stagnation. So that way a system never has stagnation and doesn't have, microbial or bacterial growth or anything like that.
Just dependent on the fitting itself?
Yeah, it's just a double drop elbow. So the water and the way you pipe the system, and we have a really cool live display in my Interactive Learning Center, New Hampshire Seminar Center. And what it shows is if you have a double drop elbow and you have that, loop or series piping, when you turn on a faucet, it's flushing through every single fixture, right, in that area. So it's just changing the mentality of the installers from your traditional branch and T to do a double drop elbow system that may be in loop in a parallel or a series type layout, which allows you to flush out the system and alleviate any stagnation. So we really go beyond just a fitting system. We actually, are trying to really establish ourselves as industry experts and let people know that we're more than just a fitting solution.
Oh, wow. That's really neat to hear. I didn't even think we'd get that out of you today. But But I'm glad to see you guys are doing more than just fittings. I mean, like, because a lot of people just hear of Viega and they think it's just fittings, but then, I used to just think it was Pro Press until I start working with you guys a lot more. Then I find out there's fittings, there's all these other things, there's Mega Press, and even Peerflow came in. So, it blows my mind on how many more things that a company can grow and can create.
Absolutely. We got our Wi-Fi snow melt controls. You saw that, Wi-Fi radiant automatic balancing system. We're going to be coming out with certain products overseas, more drainage products.
Oh.
You'll see more drainage systems from us coming over. So we got a lot. We have a lot in the works. There's a lot of secret code names to it that, we say so people don't know what it is, right? Like, we'll be like, oh, this is Project ACDC. We got all these different project names. So it's so funny. So people will be like, what is that? It's just so we don't let the cat out of the bag. But a lot of us do like to talk. We try to talk as much as we can up to the line and stop, because it's just exciting. It's just so cool to work for a company that is just evolving and always coming out with new stuff. So it's
called
fun.
It's called the IYKYK. Hashtag if you know you know.
If you know.
So we're coming close to the end of the show because we're gonna almost hit a full hour. I mean, it's been great chatting with you.
Quick.
Yeah, it's been really quick. But so I've showed you a picture before that I actually wanted to ask you a little question about, which I'm going to show to the viewers here, and it's about you talking about Viessmann. So this post was, I forgot how long this post was ago, but you said that there was something that you're in the works with Viessmann, but looking at your page, you never talked about it afterwards. So I'm just curious on what was actually in the works, if you can share it.
I will share it. I will share a little bit because I don't want, it's a personal project of mine, so I don't want to let the cat out of the bag and maybe somebody else come along and think they're cooler. But beyond innovating the plumbing and heating, training is, we innovate training too. We're always coming up with new trainings, developing new trainings. We're looking into something else that's really cool right now and up and coming. I think a lot of people that are into gaming will understand, but we're looking into more online training, ways to do things remotely versus in person. And so I got a lot of cool things in the works on that side. But then I have things in the works for new training experiences, and one is with Viessmann. And the reason why nothing got mentioned after that is because COVID. So I think I posted that February 13th or something. I was down there working with them. I've actually been working with Viessmann for 2 years now.
Wow.
So this has been in development for 2 years. It's going to be a training experience that nobody else in the industry has done for hydronics. And it's going to be an industry training that is hand down industry knowledge. It's not a sales pitch. You're going to have Viessmann, Viega, and Grundfos all together, and you're going to get soup to nuts how to do the best hydronics, install. It's going to be the best knowledge you could ever gain. And we were trying to launch that this year, but with COVID, now we have delayed it. It was supposed to launch in August.
That's sweet.
But that has been delayed to be determined based on what's going on. So we're still working on it. It's been so much fun collaborating with them because I geek out on hydronics and pipe fitting and boiler stuff, and making sure you're doing a proper system that it's comfortable and energy efficient, and why we do the things we do, not just because it's a rule of thumb or something like that. So I'm really excited about this project with them.
I really like that because whenever I see, well, not whenever I see, but when I did see this Viessmann one, I kind of find out, Viega actually works with a lot of freaking companies. Like, when I had Dal on the show, I found out, Viega was working with Dal because, well, not only from the show, but only because you guys sent me the fittings and I saw, hey, there's a Peerflow valve and it's from Dal, right? And the other company that Viega works with obviously is Rigid. So then...
Yep.
And then now you're talking about you worked with Vanguard or you guys bought them out. And then now there's also Viessmann over here. So, and Uponor as well. So, Viessmann has been growing ever since, but it's also, there's so many partnerships in between that a lot of people don't know that, makes Viega what Viega is today.
Absolutely. And we do the same thing overseas with companies, right? Like we have a controls company over in Sweden. Like there's so many things that Viega is just so good at building those relationships and working with to what I consider the best of the best in the industry. So, I mean, Viessmann to me is a top boiler line, right? So to work with them and be able to work with them and my product marries up to their product, and you're going to be able to see this in a training and see how these two products, along with Grundfos, because we actually work with all of our pumps, our alpha pumps, our pumps on our hydronic mixing block, our mixing stations, it's all OEMs with Grundfos. It's a Viega pump, but we work with them and they build it for us. And so there's been that long-standing partnership with them as well.
That's nice. The only thing that's the downfall of Grundfos is they never touch that social media side. I've been always saying that side.
You're right. They don't. They actually have a training center, and again, I never knew it existed, but I guess they have a state-of-the-art training center as well.
Oh, are you getting another phone call here?
In Kansas City. So.
Oh no, it's just my internet.
Nope, that wasn't me this time.
That was my internet.
Okay.
But that's pretty good for a full hour, just one glitch. Okay. But no, that's interesting, and that's amazing. I really like what you guys are doing, and Viessmann is definitely a good company. Not their entrance boilers, but their intermediate boilers are definitely like really great. They are great products, and I've seen it myself. Yeah, but other than that, the show is pretty much coming to an end, and I just want to say thank you for being here. And if you have anything else that you want to let the audience know about Viega, please go ahead and let them know what's coming out or what's coming next or what you have in mind.
Well, the last thing that I personally want to throw out there is to let everybody know that Viega is also working with trades, meaning vocational schools, colleges, apprenticeship programs, because we believe in bringing back the trades and giving back to the trades. So we actually established in New Hampshire, my team, we established a trade school initiative, and Erica, she's my lead trainer on that, and her Instagram is Press into the Trades. So, and she's leading that initiative, and we work and partner with trade schools of all types, from middle schools, high schools, to post-secondary schools, to apprenticeship programs, to really help them, again, train. We're not just training Viega, we train them on everything that they need. We try to fill any gaps they may have or resource constraints that they have. We're very passionate. Viega's very passionate about it because we understand that the future is press, but if we don't have a future of kids coming into the trade, there is no future, right? So we want people to get into the trades and understand that there's really cool innovations out there that makes it exciting, and the old stigmas could die out,
That's awesome. I'll probably talk to you more about that later because, I'm exactly on the same page, and I've been doing a lot of things within my area, especially working with, our industry leaders of people who give hours for apprenticeships and looking at their tests and reviewing tests and exams to make sure that, the next generation is learning what they're supposed to learn. So I think we can definitely work something on that because I want to bring more Viega to schools and actually tell them about press as well.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to any networking at all. That's how we work it. We just started rolling it out technically nationally. We were just housing it in New England for the time because I only have a couple of trainers and myself. But now we're starting to, because we can do remote, because we are reaching out and having networks and partnerships with like yourself, it helps us expand. So yes, please reach out to me and let's talk offline sometime about this.
Fantastic. Well, there's some other questions that I want you to answer in a bit, but we're going to stop the show. We're going to, kind of close up the show for now, just because it's gone for a whole hour. I don't want to keep, making an hour and a half and, making a 2-hour show. But thank you so much, Troy, for being here today, for being with Coffee of Impetus. And thank you, everybody that has joined us for our special day where we did do both streams, Twitch and YouTube, successfully. So join us next week. I don't know who I'm getting yet. I probably do know, but I'm not saying anything yet. But we will have another guest next week. And thank you, Troy, for being here again. See you guys next week with Coffee with Impetus. All right. We'll stop recording there. So there are some other questions, Troy, that some other people have been asking that I'm just going to scroll up so, we don't forget about the viewers here. Let me see. Where are these questions? This thing's kind of hard to handle. Actually, there's another guy on Instagram that asked me today that I want to ask the question. It's from Plum God, but not OG Plum God, another Plum God with a 0. His question was, is the Viega fitting good for outside pool house, hot, cold weather, even if it's properly drained and winterized? I don't know which fitting he's talking about, but I'm assuming he's talking about press.
Yeah, that's going to be tough because you're right. If he's going to be talking about Pro Press Copper or Pecs Press, I mean, the answer is yes to both. But you're right. You just got to properly winterize it, so to speak, or drain it down. Because if it was the Pecs product line, the Pecs Press fitting is super strong. Like one thing that we didn't get to on the show, but I'm going to talk about these on videos on Instagram at some point.
Yeah.
But this is a burst test right here.
Ooh,
That
holy
Pecs Press
crap.
fitting held, and this burst at 1,015 psi. We have the highest burst ratings in the industry, so it's strong.
And it's the same, and it's the same rating that you were talking about before, what I put a note at as ASTM 5306, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yep. So again, it's a strong fitting system, and that's why if it was a Pecs Press system going to a pool house, and it can handle the dual temperatures, that's fine. The PEX system is freeze resistant, but it's not freeze proof. No PEX is freeze proof. But what's great about our PEX system is the PEX would expand and thaw out and be fine. And the fitting is so strong that the fitting is not the failure point. The tubing would actually fail before the fitting. Because the fitting is so strong. So, and then Pro Press is the same thing. Pro Press, you don't, obviously because it's copper tubing, you don't want to leave cold water or any type of water in a copper system that's going to freeze because the copper is just going to split. Or the Pro Press fitting actually would, if it was a severe enough freeze at the fitting would, the deformation expands, it pops the fitting off. So, but if it was a solder fitting, the tubing would split or the heel of the fitting would split. So either way, it's the same animal. Because I've had somebody text me and go, "Oh, I thought your fittings wouldn't blow off." I go, "It froze at the fitting bud." I sent him back a photo of a solder coupling doing the same thing and coming apart. He goes, "Oh," I go, "Dude, I've seen it all. There's no different when it comes to freezing. So you take the same precautions when it comes to a freezing scenario."
It's like if you put a flame to it, it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like it's a melted fitting. Like what else do you need?
Yeah.
There was another question that I had for myself actually. Some people have been telling me that even if you take the O-ring out of the Pro Press, it actually still holds because I think the technology is between the press itself and not just the O-ring. Is that correct? I'm not saying that we do it, but
No. But I see that question all the time, and that's a good, what I call magic trick. So if I take my hydrostatic tester with cold water and I pump up the system and I pop out the sealing elements and I press it and I do cold water and I hydrostatic test it, it actually does hold. But in a real life system, that's not just a pressure test. Once I get into the dynamics of a system, meaning you have water hammer, you have vibration,
everything.
you have a dual temperature. Yeah, you have everything. You got to think of all that. Now that sealing element is 100% needed to stop any liquid from coming out. So what I have here is I always have a cutaway, if you can see that.
Yep.
So you see the metal to metal connections in the steel?
Yep.
The metal to metal, that's your mechanical strength. The sealing element is your primary sealing source. So those work hand in hand. They're designed for a reason. So you 100% need the sealing element. It needs to be in there.
100%. But it's good to know
100%.
that if you were to screw up and you forget it, which sometimes you solder and you forget, that it does still work. But I'm not saying to do it,
True, and it
again.
Correct. Just like when I was on the Boldcast, somebody asked the question about pressing on CPVC. I have photos of it. Does it hold? Low pressure, it does. I don't recommend it. Like, it's gonna blow off at some point. Or
Who was that first guy? Marlon the plumber. Marlon the plumber. He was that first guy that put it on, and he just got blasted.
He got blasted, right? He put it on. I saw that. He got blasted.
I'm still curious myself. I wanted to try it and put it on a hydrostatic test, like, because they were saying that he went back X amount of years afterwards because he's tried it before and it still works. You know, like
So what I said when I was on the Boldcast and that question came up, what I said, if you have hangers in the right spot so there's no movement and it's low pressure, it probably did hold for years. But I've tried it on a hydrostatic tester for fun too, and it will blow off if it gets too high of pressure. Just like somebody Pro Press Pecs, because Pecs is copper tube size.
Yeah.
And I go, on a low pressure system, guess what? It works. I tried it, I hydrostatic test. I was like, yep. And then I over pressurized it, and we just bumped it a little bit, and it just blew off at us like it's soaking wet. And I'm like, yep, that's why you don't do it. Like, it's not meant. The materials aren't meant for it, right? So.
Okay, between you and me, how much pressure was it?
I think I got over. I think it was like over 200.
Over 200. That's not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I think I got to 150, 175, and I think I just peaked over 200, and it just blew off all over me. And I was like, oh man, which isn't safe, right? So that's why it's not videotaped. But you gotta be careful.
But the other, actually, it piques my interest. Then, Are you guys ever gonna come into contact with something that's more plastic, that's pressable, that can press as plastic in the future, like such as Schedule 40,
So
or have you guys said, screw
we
that?
have it overseas. We have it overseas, and I've been wanting them to bring it over from Germany. It's called GeoPress, and it
Ooh.
takes away heat fusion. And you can actually press on plastic, high-density polyethylene gas piping and build in service piping. It's so cool.
Does it would that count as PVC as well or no?
No, it'd just be high-density polyethylene, but
Okay.
I could do high-density polyethylene gas lines underground instead of heat fusion.
Yeah.
I can do the building water service mains instead of the,
Right.
water service fitting. I don't know if they're working on anything with like CPVC or PVC. I'm sure they are. They have
Underground
a
gas
whole
would be
building.
awesome, though. I'll tell you that. Underground gas would be
that's what I think.
groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when we do the other ones, like we have to use it the way it is. A lot of times when we buy the underground ones, and it has its own 3/4 inch coming up, and we have to braid the rest of it, and we can't really lengthen it or shorten it. And if we do, you have to have a special fitting, which costs like, I don't know, almost like $100.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I'd rather. It'd be so cool if they brought that over here, but they have so many projects going on right now that I don't know when or if they think there's a market. I think there's a market, but hey,
Sometimes,
so cool.
sometimes it's their decision, right? There's another question from one of my guys and me myself actually. Like we had a couple
nice.
instances where we're pressing onto the Peerflow and then the stainless steel sleeving popped off. No, not when we're pressing it, but let's just say in the bag it popped off already. So how do I know that when I pop it back in that I'm at the perfect setting where it's not going to slip out or I don't have a bad press afterwards?
No, absolutely. That actually is a really good question. So the polymer fitting, so the bronze fittings, the sleeve can't come off. The reason for that is this was innovated in Germany, and in Germany they don't come off. So when we developed in the United States, we developed the polymer fitting here with the same idea. We wanted it to be able to, remove the fitting. So that's why in the bag it can come apart.
Yeah.
So, and it can come apart off this collar as well. And you're just like, oh, but you just want to make sure it actually clicks.
I heard that.
You could hear that.
I heard that.
So it clicks into place. So just make sure you hear that click. I always joke, it's like the people that use Shark Bite.
Yeah.
They push it on, they think it's in all the way, and it's like, nope, it's not. Give it another. So just hear that click. And it's actually not that hard. It's very easy. So, but you're right. You want to make sure that you hear that click so it's in. I'm going to tell you right now, though, as long as when you put the tubing in, because you can see the end of the fitting when you're looking inside, when that fitting goes in, or that tubing goes in the fitting, there's these viewport windows down here.
Yeah.
Those are witness guys, just so you know your tubing's in all the way. If your tubing's in all the way and you press that, you're going to be good to go. So just make sure you pop that back on, hear that click, and you'll be good.
And I think with some of the fittings or with some of the valves that I see, there's this extra clip on there. It's like a yellow clip, but depending on the color of it, there's that little extra pin clip. What was that for? I've always been curious.
So on the older style fittings or the bronze fittings to this day, that clip it just comes off.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the polymer rings, except all this is doing is it's indicating what fitting size, and then it locates that jaw, and after you press, you can pull it off and throw it away if you don't like the look. A lot of people just keep it on. That was the intention of it. So there's no difference. It's just when we came up with the polymer ones, this ring stays attached because it's actually how the sleeve attaches to the fitting. So it's just a slight difference because you can actually buy replacement sleeves for the polymer. If you drop this fitting, if you smash this fitting, you're SOL. You're going to go buy a new fitting.
I was screwing around with it, and I was just like, what the hell is this clip for? I finished pressing. I'm like, do I put it on the pipe? Do I put it back here? I don't know what the hell I was going to do with it.
No, you can just leave it right there. All that does is, I know this is 1 inch, and then I put the tool and butt the jaw up to that, clip, so I know it's on the sleeve properly. And then once I'm done, I can throw that sleeve away. I just leave them on. It doesn't bother me.
I gotcha. Let me see if there's any other questions. Rick would be happy, blah, blah, blah. Any questions from the YouTube side? I haven't even seen any YouTube ones. Yeah, it's kind of hard to run two platforms at once because I can only have so much
Oh,
on
I
one
bet.
phone. And then I don't have that program that watches both, but even if I did, that hurts my brain. I mean, I can multitask,
That
but I
would
can't
mess me
multitask.
I know.
'Cause
When
then-
I do online webinars, I have a big flat screen TV so I can see my PowerPoint. I have a webcam looking at me, and it hurts my brain because now I got to have my laptop in front of me, a webcam, a flat screen TV, so
Yeah.
I can see what they're seeing. Plus, they can see me, and I'm like, this is too much. I just rather work from my phone like this.
Yeah, because I gotta focus on the questions I'm asking you. Then I gotta focus on you talking back to me on how I can reply to it. Then I have all these questions aside. Then I also have YouTube aside. I'm just like, holy crap, this is quite a bit. Nothing from that side. Oh, we're pretty good. I think those are all the questions we have today.
Sweet. Well, if you ever have anything else, reach out to me, and I can always address them.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you again for all your time today, and especially you coming down on your day off. I really appreciate your time, and
Oh, yeah,
really
no problem.
thanks Viega for everything for the swag pack and the starter kit. That was really nice of you guys. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, either Becca or Joel or myself, because the starter kit is coming from New Hampshire. It's coming out of my location, so I'll just need an address to ship the starter kit and the fittings out. And
Yeah.
then Becca was going to ship the swag pack because I don't have the swag. She
Yeah.
was going to do the swag pack, and I was doing the tooling.
That's perfect. I still have the swag pack. I didn't even open from you guys yet, so I still gotta get my swag pack going. I still have
Nice.
this. You guys sent these ones to Will
Yeah, I saw
before.
that. I saw that. That's nice.
Wore it just for the show, and then you guys have. It was the shirt that says, "Do you even press, bro?" That was a good shirt.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I don't even have one of those, so that's great.
Oh, okay. I guess I have a special one.
Yeah, you do. I don't have it. I got a couple unique ones because we did like an Oktoberfest in New Hampshire, so I got a cool Oktoberfest Vega shirt. And then if you come to New Hampshire, you get a cool New Hampshire. It says "Live Free or Die." That's our motto, and it says 603, which because we only have one area code in an entire state, so it's 603 is the area code, and it just says "Trained in the Granite State." So it's a pretty cool shirt that you get if you come to a live training.
I'll be waiting for that probably sometime next year. There's so many things that I was supposed to go to this year, and it all went down to the drain, just because of COVID. But shit happens.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's the same thing with me. A lot of planning just went out the window, got pushed out, or you had to just adapt and evolve. So, it is what it is. We'll get back to it when we can.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks again, Troy. I will be talking to you soon,
Thank you,
and thank you for being here. You have a wonderful week and a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too, brother. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.